And there's a guy that just had to draw his last fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, what are we talking about? It ain't really nothing to even talk about. It is what it is. I ain't tripping. You know, it's funny to me. It's all jokes.
A lot of people go in there and they're very obedient to Tank's power. And Lamont wasn't there. Lamont wasn't having it. And he said he wasn't having it. He said it before. Y'all tripping. Y'all must be really like tripping. So, make it rough for anybody. But Tank is a different animal too. So it's a great fight. That's why everybody wants to see it. We can't just look at it and say, oh, he gonna win, oh, he gonna win. No.
Shakur Stevenson believes Gervonta Tank Davis could be in serious trouble in a rematch against Lamont Roach. He recalls how Roach already posed a significant challenge in their first encounter. Stevenson warns that if Davis isn't fully prepared and at his best, the rematch could go disastrously wrong. He also praised Roach's skill set, noting that he's no easy opponent, making this rematch potentially one of the most dangerous tests of Tank's career.
I think they announced it today.
So what do you think, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, give him a tough fight? What do you
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. You got to be on his A game.
Do you think Lamont won the first fight?
I asked two questions at the same time. Man, you get kicked out of that.
Newly surfaced training footage shows Gervonta Davis undergoing a striking physical transformation that has captivated boxing fans worldwide. He appears more muscular, focused, and intense than ever, pushing through demanding drills with his team. His commanding presence, paired with a cryptic tweet that reads, "Somebody is in trouble," has sparked widespread speculation. Many fans view it as a direct warning to Lamont Roach or anyone else standing in Davis's path. Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. weighed in on Davis's fighting style and potential ahead of the rematch. While acknowledging the unpredictability of the sport, Jones expressed strong belief in Davis's unique combination of power, speed, and instinct. He emphasized that Davis isn't just a typical power puncher but a complete fighter who can shift momentum at any moment. According to Jones, this makes Davis a dangerous and unpredictable force, and he expects Tank's natural talent to shine when it counts the most.
Roach, what are we expecting from this fight?
Well, we expect Gervonta to just continue to show us his dominance and show us who he really is. It's really a coming out party for Roach, but we haven't seen him a lot. So he gets to show people what he has too. And usually when you get two guys who are boxers and amateurs, it's going to equate to a good fight for the first few rounds. But then in the pro round, we'll find out, has Roach adjusted to being a pro yet, or is Tank too superior now to pro? That's where the difference will come in at.
Roach is coming up on weight. A lot of people keep on saying that's a very big disadvantage for Roach. His power might not transfer to this weight class. What do you got to say about that to the critics?
Well, I ain't really got nothing to say to the critics because most times they don't know the hell they talk about no weight, but I was able to clear my weight 154 to heavyweight. You know how to do it right, your weight, your punch will come. You don't know how to do it right, then you're going to lose your punch. So if he's a good, fundamentally sound fighter with a punch, you have a punch at 130, just have a punch at 140. Not really fundamentally that sound, then he won't. That's why Tank is able to jump around. Tank fought between 130 and 140. Whatever weight he wants to. Why? Because he's a great fundamental puncher. So his punch can be the same no matter what weight you got on. If you are fundamentally sound, that don't matter. But if you're not fundamentally sound, then yeah, when you move away, you're going to lose your punch.
The pressure has never been higher for Gervonta Davis. A second loss, especially without a clear excuse, could raise serious doubts about his place among boxing's elite. One bad night might be written off, but a repeat could suggest deeper issues. Critics would likely question whether Davis still has what it takes to dominate the sport. His reputation, pride, and future earnings are all on the line in this pivotal matchup.
Is the rematch happening or what? Because I'm ready to see a motherfucker get knocked out again. I'm not here to debate because y'all really go neck and neck for this for the rest of the tournament on who y'all think really won, who y'all think should have won, who y'all think didn't win. This is probably one of the biggest debates that we'll ever be solved. But they put up a good fight, I'm not going to lie, y'all, but damn near seemed like it was set up for them to have another match. Because exactly what Lamont did to Tank the whole first half, that's what Tank did to Lamont the whole second half. So what the fuck? It literally went neck for neck. I feel like it was a tie in my opinion. So hard to even say that though, because you just see so much demolishment from one, and then for it to flip to the other, and it just had your mind like, what? It's really how your mind blown. Like, what the fuck? I feel like when it came to the decision of the fight, a lot of people were real biased. A lot of people definitely get off of just their personal opinion of the person, their history of liking the person, not off of the fight itself. I will admit that really going into this fight, the first time, I thought Lamont was going to get his shit knocked off. I thought Tank was going to do him in. Now, although Tank did really show him something at the second half, I'm not going to lie, Lamont had him. He stuck with him the whole 12. You know anything about boxing, especially boxing motherfucker like Tank, you know that it's a flex the last 12 rounds just as much as it is to beat a motherfucker. The fact that Lamont lasted 12 rounds with him was really getting up, I'm not gonna lie, stinging shit, all 12. It showed that this next match gonna really show who the fucking winner was. I do gotta say, Tank probably gonna come ready for him, but the fact that Lamont came ready for him, as ready for him as he did last match, I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared for both of them. This should be bigger than the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna lie. They say it's supposed to be happening in the summer, which would be a really good way to kick off the summer. And I know these two got a vengeance out for each other. Regardless of going up together and fighting together, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. The way that fight went down, I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like this is gonna be history. Like, I can't wait to watch this shit again.
Shakur Stevenson, considered one of the most technically skilled boxers of his generation, admitted that facing Gervonta Davis would be his toughest challenge yet. He acknowledged Davis's rare combination of speed, power, and unpredictability, calling him a legitimate threat. Stevenson openly stated that a fight against Tank would push him to his absolute limit.
What would be your hardest matchup? Devin Haney, Tank, or would it be Ryan Garcia?
Nah, Ryan, just X him out. He's trash. It's gonna be Tank. I ain't say it before, but I'm gonna say it like, man, in a big fight.
In recent comments, Stevenson made it clear he's ready and willing to fight either Lamont Roach or Gervonta Davis, especially if Davis emerges victorious. He emphasized that such a showdown would be a massive event for the sport, drawing attention from fans, analysts, and promoters alike. From Stevenson's perspective, a bout with Davis wouldn't just be a blockbuster, it would be a legacy-defining fight that could reshape the lightweight division.
Me and Tank, it's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I can see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it happening. I don't think, like, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so it's
Now
like,
you're gonna get it on.
Yeah.
Although Gervonta Davis has acknowledged Shakur Stevenson's speed and technical skill, his response to the idea of a potential fight was notably unenthusiastic. While he didn't dismiss it, Davis downplayed the bout's potential excitement, hinting that it may not deliver the action fans expect. He left the door open, saying the fight would happen when the time is right, but his lukewarm tone suggests that, while he respects Stevenson's talent, he's unsure if their styles would produce the kind of high-octane clash he's known for.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn. Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who
I
might
keep
be
saying
afraid?
his name for.
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of something, it gotta be somebody hitting us and hurting us. Like, he don't have no offense. Everything is defense. Defense only win in basketball and football. That shit win in boxing.
Some boxing observers and fans remain skeptical about the true motivation behind the Davis vs. Roach rematch. There's a growing sentiment that Davis selected Roach not because he's the toughest opponent available, but because he appears beatable, someone Tank can manage with relative ease. Meanwhile, Roach is facing criticism for accepting the fight primarily for financial gain rather than competitive ambition. This perception has reignited concerns over the integrity of matchmaking in modern boxing, with many fans disappointed that top-tier fighters may be prioritizing paydays over meaningful challenges.
Why would I allow you to fight these fights just for you to knock somebody out if it's not a numbers game? Good question. The money. That's the only number that matters. The money. Okay, so let's get into it. Speaking of money, lots of people have talked about, oh, he's doing this fight for money, and Tank is strategically picking him because in the amateur world, you got fought twice. Right, and you lost, what, both times? in the amateur fight. So are you all friends? Are y'all cordial? First, what's the relationship?
We're cordial.
You're cordial?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
He cool to me.
He's cool to you?
Yeah.
And you haven't heard that he said anything differently?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He has?
No, he has.
He has not?
Yeah, that's what I'm
right.
confirming that.
He has not said anything differently. Mm-hmm. So does it confirm people's suspicion that he purposefully picked you not only because you're cordial, but because he believes he's gonna knock you out, get the purse, and then you walk away with a nice piece of change?
Man, you're in the wrong game if you don't think you're gonna beat everybody, right? Anyway, but if you're saying specifically pick me because I'm gonna be an easy cakewalk, everybody in the world knows that's not gonna happen. I mean, like, that's not gonna happen. Him personally, you know that. I think he chose me because I am going to be one of the better opponents that he's faced in his entire career, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
British boxer Conor Benn recently voiced his confusion about the direction of Gervonta Davis's career. He questioned why Davis continues calling out opponents like Roach if he's seriously considering retirement. For Benn, this contradiction casts doubt on Davis's motivation and long-term intentions. It's a valid concern. If Davis is mentally checking out, can he still deliver peak performances? Benn's comments challenge Davis to clarify whether he's still chasing greatness or simply cashing in on his name before walking away from the sport.
I don't know Lamont Roach, but when you look at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at these other fights that he should really be fighting, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire.
Yeah.
So don't come and but don't come and come at me and go, oh yeah, let's give it all, very big bollocks, and go, oh yeah, let's give him some stick, and then make out like we want the fight, and then we send an offer over, and then you fight for 15 million, and yet you fight Lamont Roach. Don't do all that. Do you know what I mean?
It was a real offer. That was true then.
It was a real offer. We offered. I said, listen, you keep talking shit. My promoter's going to get back to you in 48 hours. 50 minutes. Initial offer sent over. But was it Unquell didn't let him out to play? His boss didn't let him out. That's it. So he wants to talk about 50 million. First offer.
There was room to negotiate.
Of course there was. But he's an idiot. I don't even know if he knows what negotiating means.
After their first fight, many felt Davis didn't perform like his usual dominant self. Whether due to personal distractions or a flawed approach, his showing raised concerns. This time, however, the tone has shifted. Davis appears laser-focused, determined to silence critics and restore his reputation. From intense training footage to minimal media appearances, every move suggests a fighter intent on making a statement. He's not just aiming to beat Roach, he's out to reclaim his aura of invincibility with a decisive and commanding win.
So breaking news, Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach 2 is set for August 16th in Las Vegas, and this is a rematch of one of the most controversial fights in recent memory, where Roach arguably won 7 to 8 rounds of that fight, and then Tank took a voluntary knee in round 9, which wasn't ruled a knockdown. Ultimately, he was scored a majority draw. Now in the rematch, I do expect Tank to look much better than he did in the first fight. I don't think that was his best performance by any means, and that means being more active in the early rounds, not just staying on the ropes looking for counters. And I'm sure he'll be willing to exchange more with Roach this time around. The left hands, the combinations, the body shots, that's where he had the most success in the first fight. And Roach, he just needs to stick to what made him so successful in the first fight. His forward pressure, staying behind that jab and right hand. But most importantly, he wasn't scared to take it to Tank, but he also didn't get too aggressive. Most of Tank's opponents, if they're scared of the power, they'll sit back on the ropes, get slowly broken down, or if they end up getting too aggressive, they get caught with the counterpunch. But Roach, he was sharp that whole fight. I would go Tank in the rematch. I think he has a lot more to show this time around. But Roach did prove to be a very tough test. But you guys let me know who you got.
In contrast to Roach's active media presence, Gervonta Davis has maintained a notably low profile. This silence, far from being accidental, seems deliberate, part of a distraction-free training regimen. By staying out of the spotlight, Davis is signaling a new level of discipline and seriousness. Fans and analysts alike see this quiet intensity as a sign that something major is brewing. While Roach is doing the talking, Davis is doing the work, preparing to speak loudly with his performance in the ring.
Oh yeah, so we hearing that they got the fight set and scheduled, and it's going to be in Vegas, and it's going to be this August. So yeah, it's basically just been reported. I'm not gonna lie, we knew it was gonna happen. because they both said they down to do it. They both said they got to do the rematch because it was too close. All I'm going to say is I'm hoping that boy Tank, because he been quiet lately. Lamont, you been yapping. Talking about you should have won. You keep dwelling on that little almost close win. That boy Gervonta, that Tank, he been... We ain't never seen Tank in this mode. I will say that Lamont, you're a very skilled fighter. But you should be nervous because we ain't never seen Tank like this. He's quiet. Like, he's literally hushed, bro. You just seen him training. And now out of nowhere, he's like, hey, bro, we just have to fight up. That's actually dangerous. That's actually dangerous when you think about it. Like, dude ain't said a word. Even once the fight was over and press, he got the little hat on. He's like, yeah, man, we can do the rematch. And he said it. I'm going to go in the gym and I'm going to train. I'm going to just be quiet and work. Good match to Lamont. I ain't going to lie. If I was Lamont, I'll be a little nervous. You ain't got to be scared, but I will be a little nervous. Because usually Tank, he the one that's like, yeah, don't bring your moms to the fight. Don't bring your peoples to the fight. Dude been real hush-hush lately. I'm not going to lie, y'all. They said the fight's set up for August. I might have to go to this one in person. In August is my birthday. I might have to go to this one in person, bro. Because this right here, at this point, they're rivals now. This is like the perfect boxing story. They come from the same side of the the map, come from the same gym in Kent. I'm not gonna lie, they've been at it since they was kids. This like the perfect boxing story, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, we might have to be in there in person. But like I said, y'all already know how I go. When it come down to it, I'm putting my money on my boy Tank. Lamont, you definitely are skilled, and I'm going into this fight knowing that basically I know you're gonna put up a good one. But I got my money on Tank. We ain't never seen Tank like this, but dude quiet, and he ain't saying nothing. The fight just got booked. Oh yeah.
Criticism can either break a fighter or drive them. For Davis, it's clearly the latter. Every action, from his intense training to his rare but pointed remarks, appears calculated to prove his doubters wrong. He's pushing himself harder than ever, sharpening every aspect of his game. This rematch isn't just about settling a score, it's about legacy, pride, and reminding the boxing world why Gervonta Davis became a star in the first place.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, face of boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else, especially in Saudi. I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for what, 5 months? I ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. So about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight's going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. You take away all those factors that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. It didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top. Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Whoa. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol better be at just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching him, and Bivol and Better BF do. Tank does not.
According to Davis's camp, the problem in the first Roach fight wasn't the strategy, it was the execution. They believed the game plan was solid but suffered from poor timing and a lack of precision in key moments. Rather than overhauling everything, they're refining and tightening the original approach. The focus is on cleaner execution and applying greater pressure during critical stretches of the bout. The message is clear, they don't need a new plan, just a sharper version of the original to secure a dominant victory.
Surprised by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, they don't exist. There's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Speaking of rematches, Jalil Hackett is getting his opportunity again to fight fight the guy that he had a controversial lawsuit to be happening in Florida. I think next week?
March 15th, I think.
Let's talk about it.
I'm rocking the Major shirt now.
Major.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how's that rematch look like, and then what's the difference Vegas coming in?
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.